Noodles, what a time to be alive, man. Connor McDavid just to the moon on a rocket these last 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's thrust himself into that Conn Smythe conversation because early on in the first, we'll call it 2-3 games, it's quiet for everybody. We're talking Barkov, we're talking Bob, how great Forsling is. And you look at adjustments. That's really what the Oilers have done. I think they've done a really good job of trying to limit the forecheck of the Florida Panthers. And it's 97. That's just said, not on my watch right now. Now, you know, I heard before I came on people saying, play this song, play that song. Yeah. Still got lots of work to do here. Still got lots of work because Florida's going to have adjustments as well. You know, Bobrovsky seems to be, there's been a little bit of a solution there, but I still worry that he could steal one. So there's lots of work to be done, but I'll tell you what, the last 2 games has been an absolute statement by the Oilers, but specifically for Connor McDavid, where he just seems like he's not going to be denied.
Noodles, following up on that part of it, like he does look right now like he's just on another level. He's not going to be denied. Bobrovsky has looked very human the last 2 games. You did mention the adjustments to be coming for Florida, and they made some in-game yesterday that I thought helped. But how do you turn this around right now if you're Florida coming to Edmonton for Game 6? I mean, outside of Bobrovsky standing on his head, how else does Florida get this thing back right now, do you think?
Well, if you take a look at the first 90 seconds of the game yesterday, that looks a lot different if Skinner doesn't rob Ekblad, if he doesn't, you know, and it was kind of soft coverage for Reinhart gets that one-timer in the slot. Yeah. You know, so, you know, execution. I mean, that's kind of what Knobloch and the group were saying in the first 3 games for the Oilers is, hey, we're right there, we're getting our looks, but we're not executing. Well, you know, Florida had some looks early on. And the other thing that, you know, Maurice pointed out was you can't have a parade to the penalty box. You can't give them 5 power plays. Because the power play, I know Draisaitl's playing hurts, so that one-timer is maybe a little bit, that's the last option. That's option 10 on that power play. But bottom line is that power play now has some life, 2 for 5 last night. The penalty kill gets a shorty. So the Florida Panthers are going to try and win that game on Friday night. They're going to try and win it 2-1. And it might be a battle of mud out there as far as the ice, the sandbox. I will say the ice looked terrible last night. Like that was like every puck was bouncing, and you know that's the key is to get a lead on the road in that building because the ice is basically slush. A little different story in Edmonton where the ice is fantastic. So we'll see, but there's lots of adjustments to come, and you know some more than just Bob making some saves that he should.
Noodles, it's funny, in talking about adjustments, Stuart Skinner, you know, the adjustment can be his middle name at this point, and the Oilers too. Starting series, they grow into things, and if Bob dropping off now, Skinner's playing lights out. Last game, a couple of big saves early. Last night, a couple of big saves early. You're a goalie. When the camera's on you and you're bobbing, you know, your head to the music, and it's the Stanley Cup Finals on the road, is that the best place that he's going to be right now? I mean, the guy's just oozing confidence, and really this team... everything to lose, but going down 3-0, you kind of have this attitude of playing free and easy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when the pressure shifts to, hey, we gotta get this done type of thing. But I like where Stuart Skinner's at. You're right, mentally. He just looks like he's not afraid of the play. And I'm not saying that he is, but there were times where his body language is like, okay, you know, they got a bunch of chances. The other end, the guy's standing on his head, and then Florida comes down and gets a 2-on-1 and executes. Yeah. What I've liked about Skinner is it's sometimes not style points. You got to make the save. And there's a great goalie coach named Mitch Korn who's actually just gone back to Nashville. And I've had several conversations with him. A lot of times goaltenders, it's about, you know, save selection and what they're going to do on that play. Sometimes you just got to stop the puck and throw everything you got at it, and style points go out the window, and, you know, it looks good once you make the save instead of, you know, digging out of the net and going, hey, I should have done that. And what I mean by this is Mitch Korn used to say to me, when he had Braden Holtby, and Holtby won the Vezina and was unbelievable, won the Cup, Holtby always wanted to look perfect. Like he wanted to be, from a mechanical standpoint, perfect. That's not the case in goal. Sometimes you just need to throw an arm there, throw a body, not give up on a puck. That's what I'm seeing out of Stuart Skinner these last 2 games, where he's fighting for sight lines. Yes, he's using his size and he looks calm in the net. He's been good with his rebounds, but he's not giving up on pucks. 2-on-1 stuff. He's throwing an arm out there. He's making the save. So I've been really impressed with his battle level in the net.
We were talking about it in the 6 o'clock hour this morning, kind of just off the cuff. I said it, and then I was like, wait a second, that's actually probably true. And Leon looks like a shadow of himself right now. But Connor Brown has had a bigger impact in the Stanley Cup Final than Leon Draisaitl, which I never thought I would say in a million years. But the way he played so far in the final, and then the way he got last night going for them, this is just an all-time story of redemption during a season for one guy.
It is one of the greatest stories because, and I think there's a lot of people probably listening to this show that have Twitter accounts that would just be chewing on Connor Brown during the year, where he looked a step behind. He looked like he couldn't find the back of the net if he had a wide open net. You know, there was what game was it where he had the breakaway and he just buried it in the crest of the goal? Was that that was Vancouver, I believe. Or maybe even LA. God, it's been a while. It's been 2 months. So, but ultimately, the one thing that Connor Brown looks like, he looks like he's skating well. And so the surgery that it took him a year to come back from, his timing is on. He's unbelievable with his stick, unbelievable with his anticipation. He hound dogs pucks. You're right. He's been impactful. We mentioned about Leon. I thought Leon was pushing last night. You could tell on the back check he was really working hard to be in the right position, turn pucks over. You know, he certainly doesn't have his A game. You can tell he's trying to throw everything he got. I've heard some rumblings behind the scenes of what he has going on. He probably shouldn't be playing, but that's Leon. He just doesn't miss games. So bottom line is I still think with this 2 days off, we might have a Leon Draisaitl game still. There might be where he just adrenaline takes over and it's like, I'm not going to be stopped. A lot like 97. You know, I'd like to see it either in game 6 or if they push it to a 7 where he just is unstoppable. But, you know, you're right. Connor Brown's story is unbelievable on so many different fronts. And, you know, good on the Oilers for standing by him, because at the deadline, I think there was a lot of people that wanted to move that player out to look for an upgrade. And, you know, Ken Holland is the one thing that you can't accuse him of is not being patient, because he's been patient with a lot of players in his lineup, and so far it's paid off.
Noodles, how difficult do you think it is for the floor? And they'll say, you know, it's just one game, but how difficult is it, do you think, to not think about the bigger picture of letting a 3-0 series lead slip away? Like, I know you try to not think about it, but it's got to be lingering in there somewhere.
100%. Those guys don't want to get on the plane today. Like they wanted to win the Stanley Cup on home ice last night. You know, you had one where you crapped it off. The 8-1 loss, they're thinking, okay, that's just an outlier, burn the tape. And then last night, they're chasing the game at 4-1, and they push. And believe me, Florida knows how to win. They know how to play. But it's what Edmonton's been doing as well that has counteracted that. So it has to be in their mind. They're saying all the right things. You can win a press conference. Believe me, I don't know how many coaches and players I see that win press conferences because they say the right thing, and they get the crowd on their side. Paul Maurice has been a stand-up comedian and had everything throughout the playoffs. And I love Mo. Believe me, Mo's been in the media. He's a sharp guy. He's a really well-liked guy. But, I had it as a joke, the Conn Smythe early on after Game 3. I said it was going to be Bobrovsky, Barkov, or Paul Maurice, because Maurice had just said and done everything. He looks a little bit different right now. You can tell he's wearing it, and he showed a little bit, I wouldn't say frustration because he's got poise, but last night you could tell he was thinking, okay, we got to get on this plane and go and try and get one in Edmonton, where it's going to be a tough building to play in for the Panthers. That being said, my question would be: are they bringing the families up again? Like, is all the families getting on that charter again and dragging them to Edmonton? I don't know what Florida's doing, but there is a lot up 3-0. There's a lot of distractions, and right now the Oilers are playing loose. They're playing confident, and they've made a series about it because I think there's a lot of people that would, especially in that market right now, thinking that the Oilers have the upper hand here. If they win 2 in a row, they're lifting the cup, and I think the momentum, whether if you believe in it, is on their side.
Before we let you go, you mentioned in this market. Can you imagine Friday night in this city, Game 6, Stanley Cup Final, at home, trying to stay alive? Like, I can't imagine. I mean, outside of having Game 7 here at home, I just can't imagine a more wild night than what we're going to see on Friday.
It's going to be insane. I was there the other day, game, whatever that was, 4, and the building was going to pop off. And walking away after doing our hits and all of that, I had a buddy call me, and I was texting with my buddy Lums, and he just said, if they lose, they still got that game. And I don't know if that was the narrative earlier. Like, you had your Stanley Cup winning game in the finals type of thing. And if they lost in 5 or lost in, you still have that, right? Now people want it. Like, they're greedy. They want that cup, which rightfully so. Edmonton's played well, and we'll see if they can finish this off. But I can't imagine what that building's going to be like Friday night. I'm going to be in it. Obviously, we're working, but I'm going to have to bring some. You see the size of these ears. I'm going to need two Kleenex boxes to jam them full of how loud it's going to be in that building.
Noodles, as always, buddy, we appreciate it, man. We'll catch up next week.